Okay, practical podcasting, a crash course in editing. This is based on the material that we just recorded a few minutes ago with our little Zoom H1. So I'm using a Mac, but this works for Windows as well. I'm going to recommend some software to you. It's fairly basic, but it's open source and it's free. If you've done any audio editing before and you're familiar with Pro Tools or Cubase or GarageBand or Logic or anything at all, and you want to use that, knock into it. Great stuff. But if you're new to this type of material and you just basically want to do some really simple editing, I recommend a tool called Audacity. It's free. If you just Google Audacity, it'll come up. It's available for Windows, for Mac, or for Linux. So if you have a Chromebook, I think it'll work on that as well. It's a fairly basic tool, but it does work. Okay, so Audacity is what we're going to use for our material today. So I've taken the little Zoom device that we have. So this is the Zoom that we recorded our poem a few minutes ago in, and I've connected up the USB lead and attached that to my computer. And what it does is it shows up like a drive. It just shows up like any other drive on the machine, and in this case it's got one here. Okay, and in here are some files that I have recorded onto the machine. So this is the one that I just recorded. Okay, it's got the wonderful name zoom0002.wav. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy it onto the desktop. Okay, I always recommend you do that. Do not edit files directly on the device. Make a copy of them. Put them somewhere in a folder or wherever you're keeping your projects and edit them there. Okay, and actually it's a really good idea to make a backup of the original, lock that one away and make a copy of that and edit that one, and that way if you make a complete bags of it, if you make loads of mistakes, you can always go back to the original as well. Okay, so I have this one here. I'm just going to edit it from the desktop just to illustrate the points. So I'm going to open that with Audacity. Okay, and Audacity should open. Oh, it's opening over on my other desktop, but I will bring that over here. Okay, so I'm going to bring that over here and just to make it a bit easier, I'm going to maximize it. So what I see here is this is the waveform. So this is the actual sound that we recorded earlier. Now if I can click anywhere in here, and that's going to put my cursor point, I can press play and I can start to hear things. We're going to edit this in a few minutes as well, so you'll see what's being recorded. So this is here. A couple of things to note. So this is like ASMR. I'm running my hands up and down, or I'm being fidgety. The device will pick that up. You will hear a lot of mic handling noises. Also, when we listen back to this, you will hear a lot of pop, 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 pop. These are called plosions. What that is, that's air hitting across the two microphones at the front here. There's a really good way to reduce that. Okay, so I was doing some really poor things with recording, but it's illustrating a point. Now this is the bit later on where we record the poem, but look at all this stuff at the front. This is before I had adjusted the recording level. Look, it's distorting. It's way too loud for the actual recording itself. You could hear my hand running up and down the device. That's those mic handling noises, because it's picking up the vibrations of my hand on the device. So you don't want to get that. So a way of avoiding that is by not running your hands up and down it, or being still. Once you actually record, if you're holding it in your hand, being still. You can get tripods or just balance them on something. That's absolutely fine as well, but not something that's going to pick up vibrations and translate that into sound. A way that you'll know if that's happening is by wearing the headphones. As soon as I had those headphones on, I could hear all of that, and I knew that what I was recording was junk. Okay, an incredibly complex piece of equipment, a bit of fluff. Okay, this is just a microphone windbreaker. These are super cheap and they're really, really good. Put that on, and now what I've got is a much clearer sound and much. I've reduced the amount of plosions coming from my voice significantly. So you can see the difference from here to here, and that was just putting that piece of fluff, that windbreaker, on the front of the microphone. It just gets rid of all that air, that harsh air hitting the microphone head. Okay, and then we get to here.
My voice significantly. Also, if you're recording outside and there's any wind,
yeah, that's all lovely. Okay,
saying a simple poem. So this is W.B. Yeats, An Irish Airman Foresees His Death. Okay, now notice I'm handling the thing here. My thumb is being like that. Bum, bum, bum.
There's more mic handling noises.
Okay. An Irish Airman Foresees His Death.
Now, editing. Really simple. So we're not going to go too deep into editing in this class, okay? What you want to do is some basic topping and tailing, okay? So topping and tailing is maybe where you get rid of the rubbish at the start and the junk at the end, okay? So really my recording,
An Irish Airman Foresees His Death,
goes from there. All of this stuff I don't want, okay? So I'm just going to zoom just to make it look a bit bigger. I find the cursor point where I want to go from. So if I go from here,
An Irish Airman Foresees His Death.
So everything before that I want to get rid of. So it's really easy. I just select it. Okay, so I've selected it all the way back to the start, and then I've pressed delete. And now my file is
An Irish Airman Foresees His Death.
All that junk at the start of me with my mic handling noises and the plosions, that's all gone. It's all gone now. Okay.
An Irish Airman Foresees His Death. I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above.
That sounds decent enough. Yeah, there's decent recording there. Do you remember when I was recording it though, I was moving the microphone around. So sometimes it was at a nice position and then I'd move it over here and then I'd move it over there. Listen to what happens to the sound.
Somewhere among the clouds above. Those that I fight I do not hate. Those that I guard I do not love. My country is Kiltartan's cross. My countrymen Kiltartan's poor. No likely end could bring them loss or leave them happier than before. No law nor duty bade me fight, nor public man nor cheering crowds, a lonely impulse of delight drove to this tumult in the clouds.
See, there's me moving the microphone around and I'm losing the quality of the audio, losing it. So it's really simple. I found a nice space. I had it here at the start.
Somewhere among the clouds above.
I just keep my microphone steady at that position and I'll get a good clear recording. I'll go back to it at the end.
I was moving the microphone around during that.
Sorry, here we go.
Come seem waste of breath, a waste of breath the years behind, in balance with this life, this death.
So there it is. If I want to get rid of the stuff at the end, which is just me rabbiting on more, again I can just select that and delete it. And now what I have is just a little audio recording of my poem. Okay, so I've topped and tailed it. I've got rid of some stuff at the start, I got rid of some stuff at the end. I don't think we should really be getting into multi-track editing or multi-track mixing. If you want to learn more about that, come back to me and we can see about putting some material together. But simple topping and tailing, getting rid of the rubbish at the start, the crap at the end, that's probably enough for now. If I had handled my mic properly and had it in a good position, I would have had a nice clear recording of that poem. Okay, now when I'm finished with that and I want to save it, so again, sorry, just bring my cursor over here. So I can, if I just go laptop screen, okay, okay, so I have this and I want to save it. File, probably the easiest thing is to do an export, so I can go export as WAV. Okay, and I'm just going to save it to the desktop and I'm going to call it Yeats poem. Okay, and I'm saving it as WAV, and just go with one of the presets. So the Microsoft 16-bit PCM WAV, that's a CD quality sound. That's absolutely fine. That's perfect. If you need to go with something else, MP3 is fairly decent. I wouldn't worry about any of the other formats. Either save as MP3 or WAV, but I would recommend WAV. Okay, so we save it there to the desktop. I can provide it with some meta information. I'm not going to bother with that. Just going to say okay, and then if I go back to my desktop, okay, I'll just minimize this. Sorry, no, I just minimize this. Okay, my desktop is extended over two screens, so it's actually over the other screen. So I'll just bring it over here so you can see it. That's saved It's gone for some reason. That has my desktop. My desktop is extended over 2 screens, so it's put it over the first screen. So I just put it there. And now I have my file, and if I press play on that...
An Irish airman foresees his death. I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above.
Which is the bit of audio that I wanted. So topping and tailing with Audacity is remarkably simple. It's very, very easy. If you get a good recording, you're sorted. You're sorted. So Audacity, it's free. There's loads of tutorials available for it online. And when you're working with the Zooms, the best way to learn how to do it is to just do it. Okay? So I hope that was useful. And I look forward, or I listen forward, to hearing what you come up with.